Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Welcome to another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. We're back at it again. Goodness, we haven't recorded anything in weeks. We just had pre-recorded everything, and we missed 1 week, and then we highlighted the extra point last week, and now we're back at it. Mm-hmm. It was not on purpose. I was out of town.
Yep, you were in Africa.
South Africa. Yeah, flew into Johannesburg and then took like a little puddle jumper to Port Elizabeth, which is right on the coast. And then we had like another hour and a half drive to get to where we were going. And it was me and my dad, and it was awesome. It was an amazing trip. We got to go hunting. We got to like hang out with people that obviously in a different culture, and get to know people and get to know the trackers, which are a lot of the people that live around that area. And I think the highlight of my trip was some of our tracker. I mean, it's obviously third world country, you know, there's a lot of poverty and stuff, and the trackers, they they just wear clothes day in and day out, and essentially until they fall apart. And one of the trackers, his shirt was just bad. It was just tattered. And so I asked our professional hunter, call them PHs. And so I asked our PH, I said, what's up with this guy's story? And I was like, cause he just wears like the same shirt like all the time, and it's really, really, really beat up. And I'm just kind of curious. And he said, yeah, that's pretty much the only shirt that he has. Wow. And I said, well, I got a suitcase full of shirts. And it just so happens like they were mainly like Southridge church shirts, you know, that I could just wear at night or after we get back and we're showered and we're eating dinner or whatever. And I said, well, I got a whole bunch of shirts. I said, I'm gonna give him. I said, he's about my size, right? And I said, yeah, you probably wear like a large or whatever. I said, great. And so I gave him like a whole bunch of shirts, you know, that a little bit older Southridge shirts, and one, you know, it says "Love God, Love People" that we did for Beauty Day a couple years ago, and one that just said "The We Before Me, We Never Stop Growing." And it was like a long sleeve one because they were getting into their winter time now, and but anyways, and so like I hooked him up with some Southridge shirts, and I kind of snook a couple pictures, and like I showed it to Scott, and he's like, dude, that's awesome. Yeah. So I couldn't part with my Long Live the King shirt just quite yet because I just got it.
Right. It's the newest one. Yeah.
But I came back in a couple of other shirts that weren't Southridge shirts. You know, I think I went there with like probably 8 or 9 shirts, and came back with 2. Yeah. And some of them, my wife was like, "I'm so glad you got rid of that shirt finally. I didn't like it on you." Like, what are you talking about, woman? But it was just awesome just to even going with that not in mind to be a blessing, and God just kind of showing that opportunity to just to be a blessing, which is great. Yeah. You know, absolutely. You just want to just kind of go and just, I don't know, just always be in tune with what God wants you to do.
Yes. Yeah. No matter where you are, looking for that or allowing him to use you in that way is important. So that's really cool. Yeah. How was it really spending all that time with your dad? Because I know like in the one podcast we did, we talked about the 7 primal questions, and like you guys really coming from that background and kind of being frugal and that kind of thing. And I mean, you guys planned this trip for a long time.
2.5, 3 years. Yeah. Like we've been talking about it. And, we were going to do it sometime last year, but he had decided that he was going to do his knee replacement surgery. And he did it 9 months ago. And the doctor gave him the okay. And, you know, just you'll be more than capable to go and do this hunt. But it was awesome because anytime like I'm around my dad, I typically have my kids, and I'm just chump change whenever my kids are around,
of course.
You know, the grandparents. Yes. So it was really good just to go. I mean, we laughed, we almost died together.
Oh no.
Yeah. So we were doing this one hunt and he had a bucket list item and it was a Cape buffalo hunt. And I don't know if you've ever seen any video of Cape buffaloes, and
I don't know what that is.
It's a huge animal. Yeah. It's a huge animal. Like it's 2,000 pounds.
Okay.
And they've got these big curved kind of horns that come up, and it looks like a cow, but just like on steroids.
Right. Okay.
And was the scariest thing ever. So leading up to it, we were tracking this large herd of them. And a couple days before we had found them and we're maybe 30 yards away, but we're in like really, really, really thick like trees and stuff. And so you're kind of looking, you can't really get your eyes on like an animal that you want to harvest, and it's like, okay, but then something spooks them. And so we're in like this huge herd of them of like 70, maybe 80, could be 100. We just didn't know. Yeah. And they just start running. And the sound that they're creating is unlike anything I've ever heard in my entire life. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, so you're getting close, and so you're hearing them making their noises, you know, and they're all talking to each other, and they're loud animals. And you're just like, what in the world? Like, this is insane. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. What are we doing, guys? And so something spooks them. And so they just start like running off into the distance. And I look over at my dad and I said the same exact thing. I'm like, what are we doing? This is stupid. Like at any moment, they could just be like, oh, because they know we're there. They could smell us. Yeah. I mean, and if you've seen videos of what they could do to a lion, which can easily take one of these things out, it pales in comparison to what I could do to it. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and it was just insane. And so we get back on like their trail a couple days later, and I'm looking at the pH. And I go, hey, you want me to bring my gun? And he goes, no. Because there's a couple of them that have like broken off from the main herd, and I want you to be a distraction in case anything happens. And I'm like, what do you mean by this, sir? Kind sir. His name was Ricky. I said, what do you mean, Ricky? And he goes, I just need you to be a distraction. He goes, I'm going to have a gun. Your dad will have a gun. And I need you to like help separate them like once we pull the shot. And I'm like, I don't understand what you are saying. What do you mean by I need you to separate them and be a distraction? And he goes, okay, so whenever the shot goes, I need you to get the other's attention to where like
to make him charge you or something.
So there was it was just two of them. So it was a male and a female that had broken off. So they were, it was a little bit of an older male, and the female was older too, but she was notorious for having bad eyesight. Okay. So I needed to stand there and jump up and down and wave my hands to get its attention to where it didn't like start circling around the bull. Okay. It was just like a precautionary thing. Okay. Like if there was a bad shot, then what they typically do, like they just get up and get close together, and then they start calling hey, like, and so others, if they're in the distance, they're going to come.
Okay.
And we didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's stupid. So the shot goes out, and my dad is just like, he's in front of me because I'm trying to get, phones, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to record this. It just happened all too quick, and I couldn't record it. And so he's like, Jared, your cue, go. And so I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. And so I just start running this way. And so I get the attention of this other 2,000-pound animal. And I'm like, all right, what are you going to do, guys? And so I just start running in the opposite direction, and this animal is chasing me. Oh, my gosh. This 2,000-pound animal, which could easily maim a lion, starts chasing me. And the only thing I've got going for me is that this thing is blind. And so I run around this big group of trees, and then I just kind of like pay attention to what's happening, and she just keeps on running off into the distance thinking that she's chasing me. And I'm like coming back, and I look at my dad and I go, I don't want to do this. This is dumb. I'm glad that you are having the time of your life, but I need to go use the restroom really bad. Then we took pictures and all that other stuff. It was one of the most, like, all of that story leading up to that. Now we can look back and we're like, oh, this is great. And yeah.
Wow. I do not want to ever do that kind of thing.
I want to go back.
I want to go to Africa for very different reasons.
Yeah. Well, the last two times that I'd been to Africa in different parts, one time was in Johannesburg and one time was in Kenya. I went and I told people about Jesus. Yeah. And so this time was like a different kind of feeling because I'm going to shoot some stuff. Like I'm going with my guns blazing. And so I was telling people, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this emotionally, but I'll deal with that like after the fact. But, looking back on it, it was like a really crazy trip. Like it was one of the most physically demanding things that I've ever done in my whole entire life. But it was so rewarding that I got to experience it with my dad. My dad's, he's knocking on 70 this year. And it's just great to be able to, first off, just celebrate the fact that my dad is still in like good enough health to be able to do things like this. Yeah. And I had 2 weeks of like unrestricted access to my dad. And just to be able to hang out. I mean, we laughed a lot. We joked a lot. We ate really, really, really good food because some of the animals that we hunted, we were able to take and they made dishes for us. Nice. And it was awesome and just a great experience. And I got to yell at a giraffe, which is pretty funny, and I recorded it. And I thought it was just one giraffe. Should,
put some clips in this of these moments.
Yeah,
you should definitely.
So he was off in the distance, and I was just like, "Hey, giraffe!" And then like this baby came out from behind the bushes, and I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome." I thought he was just by himself, so I was just like wanted to say good morning to him, and then this other one came out, and I just started laughing. I was like, "All right,
hi,
cool."
Baby giraffe.
Well, I didn't do that, but it was.
I would have.
But it was just one of those things where it was like, "All right, cool. This is a cool experience." Yeah. Waking up and there was like impala like fighting.
Oh yeah.
Which is really cool just to experience. I don't know. It was. Yeah. It was just one of those nifty things where I'm glad I did it. I really want to go back just because I had an amazing time, except for the Cape Buffalo. And there was this other instance where we were tracking a warthog. And you have to be really, 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 really good at what you do. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but toot. I got within like 7 yards of a warthog, and a warthog didn't even know that I was there. Wow. And then I realized this is another dumb idea. because warthogs have giant tusks that come out, and they could easily like just shred your legs. Like, you know, they'll gore your leg or whatever, and then they'll easily kill you.
Yeah.
And it's like this stupid little animal that's smaller than my dogs that I live with. I don't know.
Did you have a lot of Lion King moments while you were
No, I didn't do any. I didn't sing anything. I had a lot of Bambi moments.
Oh, yeah.
Where you got it. You got the reference.
Yep.
But no, it was great. No. It was like once in a lifetime.
So you think you'll maybe when one of your kids are older, you think you'll take them?
I want to take Erica with me. I want to do that with her. I mean, she's not too excited about obviously a long plane ride. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I said, if this is something that we'll ever do, we'll just splurge a little bit more for better seats. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like flying domestically where they have, you know, just first class and then everything else is economy. Mm-hmm. They have like levels, and they make it a little bit more affordable because first class was ridiculous. But they have, those are the ones where like you have your own bathroom and your seat folds down into like a twin bed, and it's insane. Yeah. But it was like, I think for one seat it was like $20,000 for round trip. It was, I don't make that kind of money. I don't know that I'll ever have that kind of money to be able to do that. But they have some ones where it makes it a little bit more easier to fly, and you know, you have more leg room and your seat folds down a little bit more, and but yeah, I'd love to do it. I thought that the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, gosh, Erica would just fall in love with this place, and then she would be thoroughly convinced that this is where God wants us to live. And I did have that moment. Yeah. Like, I did have that moment. I was like, God, are you trying to tell me something just because I love it here so much?
Yeah.
Like, are you trying to open a door? And then I got home, and then I realized that West Virginia is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
But you can't, I mean, it's so easy to fall in love with those places. And then, you know, you go, because we were out, like where we were staying was like maybe 30 minutes outside of the city. And so we made a couple of trips to the city, a couple of nights. We did restaurants and stuff there. And so you see the people there, and you see kind of like the state of like how things are, and can't help but just think like, oh, like, let's be a light to this area. And then getting to know, like, I'm, you know, doing some Google searching and stuff, and you're like, dude, there's like 50 churches in this little city. Like, what are you?
Yeah, because like the churches though are tiny, probably and they're because even like in Ecuador, the one family we visited, I remember they literally had a little church on their property. They built it for their family. Yeah. Which is cool. But yeah, what an experience. Super awesome. I just think about how cool it is that you were able to be in a place where you and your dad could both do that. Like, with what you grew up with and those kind of things. And maybe, I mean, it's a costly trip, even doing things, you know, somewhat, you know, economy or whatever, like no matter what, that's a costly trip. So I think that's really awesome for you to be able to experience that and do that.
And I was glad to be back home as well, because obviously, you know, being away from my wife and my 3 kids for 2 weeks that's a difficult time. Even though I'm like away and having fun, it's difficult for Erica and the kids, and you know, I'm trying to, anytime I can get a text message out or something, I'm trying to do that. And, but you know, I knew that it's awesome coming back home. And then, you know, you're like, like I'm back home. Like I know like West Virginia is home. I know like this is where I'm supposed to be. And, I came back with, a bonus sickness that I don't know what it is that I have or had. And I'm just on some really awesome antibiotics that are making me sick in other ways.
But helping with the other stuff.
And,
the fact that we even have that type of stuff to help.
Well, I know.
It's really cool because there was probably a time that we didn't have all of that or know all that. But but you're here. You're doing good. You're fever free.
Yes, fever free.
That is good. And you pushed through the weekend, which was I feel like this was a marathon weekend that we just had.
I'm telling you, it was an act of God. Like God was giving me supernatural strength because getting back home on Tuesday, and then I had to cancel that Thursday night rehearsal just because I was just
sick.
I was sick. I came in for a little bit on Thursday, and you looked at me and you go, "What are you doing here, Jared? You need to go home. Like you need to go. You need to go home." Like you were pretty adamant. Like you didn't want to hear about anything else.
Because we were supposed to record then, and I was like, no, you could do something else. You could do a throwback. You could do a takeover from the extra point. Like I was giving you all ideas. I was like, just no, it's not worth it. Like we love those of you who listen and who really are have been with us from the beginning, or maybe you're a newer listener. Like we love that and we want to give you content, but there are times and seasons where things happen,
dude,
and you got to take care of yourself.
And
I've had one of those this week. So you had that sickness last week, and then this week, I hurt my back. I've got ice pack on my back right now.
Is it peas?
No, it's it's a really big wrap.
I get so mad whenever people grab peas from the freezer and then they try to use it for like joint pain or back pain or something like that, and then they just throw it away. I'm like, dude, those were perfectly good peas.
I know, they're still packaged. But I guess they get. No, you throw them away. But
that's what I'm saying.
But
it's
like
I like peas,
and just write on there like ice pack, for ice pack.
Or just spend a little bit of money and just get the gel ones and just reuse them.
Right. Well, that's what I have one at home that it wraps around. It has a little elastic thing.
Oh,
attaches so you can rotate it however you need and it stays in place. So I have one of those that I've used at home, but I forgot it this morning. So I asked Anna if she had one here or could bring me one. Because for the last 2.5 days, all I've done is lay around and ice my back. And
I felt so bad for you because I know your mindset and your mentality, and you're stuff just we need to keep moving forward. And whenever I saw the message, you were like, I'm not moving from this spot that I couldn't
walk. It was so bad. It was hard to just get up and go to the bathroom or whatever, so hard. And my poor kids, they're so sweet. They were super sweet the last couple of days. Esme came in Tuesday evening after school and she was like, "Mom, I'm sorry that my prayer didn't work for your back." And I'm like, "Esme, it's not that your prayer didn't work. It's just that it needs a little bit more time." Yeah. And, but yeah, they've been super sweet. Anthony was super helpful the last few days. You guys cleaned up stuff from the worship center for us, for me. So it's things happen.
Yeah.
And
so I fly in Tuesday. Yeah. I take Wednesday off, just one more day. I'm thinking I'm going to be dealing with a little bit of jet lag. Mm-hmm. And Thursday I try to come in and I'm exhausted. Friday, same thing. I'm in bed I'm a little bit late to show up for beauty day because I'm trying to rehydrate myself because I'm just nonstop sweating and just body aches and everything. But beauty day, oh my gosh, what an amazing day.
Yeah.
I love that day. I love that we do it.
Yeah.
It's such a fantastic idea. I love that we just see more and more people wanting to get involved each and every single year. I love that we try to find ways every year that just streamline the process. I love that that we just ask people to sponsor a person this year, a lady this year, and just here's the list of things to get. Yeah. And bring that in instead of just, hey, we need 100 shampoos. Yeah. We need 100 conditioners.
And that was like game changer this year. I feel like because everybody was like, I really loved knowing I was shopping for a person. And
and people can make those connections. It's easy to sit there and go, okay, I need to pray for, Amanda, whatever. And then as I'm buying these things, but you also get to see the age, and people can make those connections. Like, oh, there's somebody there with the name Erica. Like my wife's name's Erica. Yeah. I could shop for her, or I can find somebody that is the same age as my spouse, or maybe the same age as you. Yeah. There's a connection point there. Yes. And even if you volunteer on that day, you can walk around and kind of see their the hello, my name is, and you can see their names, and you're like, you know what? I've been praying for you. Yeah. I was able to provide for that bag. God, what an amazing experience just for volunteers and people that are.
Yeah, we did that, and it was cool because going through those bags, like seeing how people did a little extra, or like some people got the little like plastic containers to put all their hair stuff in. So that way they had like a better storage system for that. And all those little personal touches that were done through that was really cool to see. And then we got those buttons this year that said like, ask me about my story, to where like if you were volunteering and you had a personal story with recovery in some way, or somebody in your family, you could wear that to where they could see and know that, oh, you have a story, and even like talk about it with them or that kind of thing. But even just seeing that and knowing we're not alone, and there are people who've either gone through this or have family that have gone through this, so it's personal for them. That was awesome. The other thing that I just thought was so cool was that we had a previous person who had graduated from Recovery Point in 2019, who was here, who goes to our church, who is now interning here. She's the one who brought the main message for them that day. And I think that is just like an amazing, cool thing.
Oh, yeah.
To see that, okay, she was here. She experienced Beauty Day years ago. And now to see where God has brought her, I think that gave them probably so much hope. Like, not everybody wants to end up being that and like called to ministry and that kind of thing. But to see, okay, she's gone through, she has kids, she has a husband, she's, made it to this place where she knows who she is and like what her worth is. I think that was just like a really cool full circle moment to see with Beauty Day. But yeah, this year, like, our timeline was, we gave ourselves probably an extra hour than what we needed, because we had people who were amazing volunteers, who like extra people who signed up at the last minute, to where we had more people cutting hair than what we thought. And the ladies that were in charge of the hair cutting area and the styling area, they got everyone through so fast, to where the ladies who were done, like who were here to cut hair, they were leaving by 11 o'clock. Like,
that's
they
crazy.
were packed up, ready to go. And so it was super cool. And even one of them, because we have people from Carver, which is a local like cosmetology school. So we have people who come here from there every year. And one of the students, her parents own a local restaurant really close to my house. And we'd gone in and ate on Friday night. And I started to ask her if she was coming and would be here for Beauty Day, but then I didn't, because my kids were there and they were distracting, and but I saw her leaving and I was like, hey, I was just at your mom's restaurant last night. I'm so glad you came. And she was like, oh yeah, you were there with your kids. And anyway, so we got to talk a little bit, but it's a great experience for them to be able to come and, like, one, they get experience, but two, they get to understand the importance of giving back. And I think that's just cool. But we had massages, people here doing massages this year. Yeah. 2 ladies, one who goes here and another lady that she's connected with, a friend of hers. That actually, when I went to message her friend, I had her I had messaged her the previous year to let her know that, like, because of where this whole wing was shut down last year, we didn't have space.
Yeah.
But she had wanted to volunteer last year. And so anyway, just super cool to see those things. It's an amazing event where we just get to have those ladies who are in long-term addiction recovery come and have a day for themselves that really shows them that they're worth more than what society or people or things might want to say about them just because of what they've dealt with or struggled with. And so yeah, it was an awesome day.
Yeah, and so that was on Saturday, and then Sunday we had
Compassion Sunday,
which is awesome. I love that day too. We call it Compassion Sunday. We partner with a ministry called Compassion International, which is just, it's an opportunity to be able to sponsor a child. What they do is they feed them, they give them medicine and all kinds of doctor's visits and education. They're put in, they have all throughout, they have churches or organizations within these areas that they get to go to for church, for those things. And we sponsor a specific region in Africa, in Tanzania. And so we've partnered with them since 2020, and we chose a specific region. We wanted a specific area to where people who sponsor kids there one day can go and visit that region, and all the kids will be in a close area, like part of the same church area and that kind of thing, so that we can all visit with our sponsored kids. And so we started sponsoring in 2020. And the last one I wasn't able to be here at because I can't even remember. I think we were sick or something. Something happened and I wasn't able to be here last minute. But this year we actually did it on the actual day that Compassion International tries to get as many people all throughout the nation to host Compassion Sunday. Yeah. And so, like, in the past, we've done a Compassion Sunday, but it's not been on the official Compassion Sunday. But this year it was. And so we were with so many, like over 7,000 churches who decided to host for Compassion Sunday. And whenever we were preparing, Doug, our contact, he was like, we only have 28 kids left in your specific region that need sponsored. So we have 61 active sponsorships in that region, but they only had 28 packets to send us, which is a big, like, I think it's a really big deal. Yeah. And I was super excited about, and like, nobody else seemed to be super excited on Sunday. I think everybody was tired from Beauty Day or something. I don't know. Or not here.
But yeah. But I thought that it was super exciting. And so they sent us other packets, but I was like, I'm only putting these out for now because I want to get all those 28 sponsored.
Oh yeah.
27 sponsors, 28. Yeah. Anyway, however many it was, 28, 27, wanted to get that many sponsored. And we had 19 sponsored. And said we only have 9 packets left. Yeah. And so that to me was really encouraging. And I've had a couple messages of people who were like, hey, I wasn't able to be there, or we had to leave early. Will the packets still be there so I can choose a child next week? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So, so it's really encouraging and exciting because we've asked our people for a lot over the last 6 months or more, between our For the Future campaign we literally had just done Beauty Day the day before, our egg hunt stuff. Like, there was a lot kind of all at once. Plus then Monday was our golf scramble for our Lost Chakras, our kids around the world, our Hope Zone stuff. And so, like, it was a lot. That's why I call it the marathon weekend, because we had Beauty Day, which is one outreach avenue. There's Compassion International, which is another missions thing. And then we had our golf scramble fundraiser for another missions for Ecuador. And it was like all back to back. And it just happened that way. Like, we didn't necessarily mean to plan it that way, but that's the dates that were available, and that's what we did. but to see people really choose that and realize that, oh no, this is what we're supposed to do. And it was, I don't know, I left pretty encouraged to see that many people take action. And even the night before, I'd gotten a message from someone whose mom was in hospice, and they had messaged me because they'd seen the post about compassion, and she said, hey, I'm not going to be there, but will you choose a child for me and send it to me? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't, like, I'm sitting there like, I can't believe that this is the kind of people that we have who are with their mom on their deathbed and are still like, what can I want to do something to help.
Yeah.
Like, I just think when I hear things or see things like that, I'm like, we have some really cool people who are a part of this building, but 100%. Are a part of the greater church. And I think it shows, like, it just shows a lot of what the kind of culture that we've been building, like that we've been really trying to create here to help people understand that it's not about us, that it's about what we can allow God to do through us, like for the greater world, like for those things that I think that it speaks a lot to that, like what we've been trying to build, to have those kind of moments.
Well, I mean, if you take a step back and then you look at this area that's in Tanzania, and there's no more kids to be sponsored to help, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's insane if you think about it. Like, so many people have said yes and to helping through compassion and sponsoring these kids to get them the education, the medicine, and ultimately them in front of the gospel. Yeah. Like, there's no more kids. Yeah. That's insane. Yeah, that's insane.
Because so cool. I believe, like, so our packets are good through the end of the month. And so I was like, I want to leave that table with those out until they're either all sponsored or till they expire. Because that's my goal, is for us as a church to be like, we've taken this on and we're doing it. Like, we are taking care of it, because it is, to know that we've made that kind of difference and impact, I think is huge. Like, we also had a VR experience.
Oh, dude, that was fantastic.
Did you get to go through it?
Yeah, I did it yesterday.
So it was for Brazil, but did you do the girl's story or the guy's story?
I did
or
the girls.
Okay. Yeah. So the girl's story, it was like a virtual experience to Brazil, and you got to meet this family and see how they live. You got to go through like all this. You had like this little booklet, this passport thing where you could go through with your kids to show them like the difference of how we live and what choices we have and how they live. So it's really educational for teens and kids and us adults too. Yeah. But the girl's story, you got to go through and see how this young girl, like the one older sister, she was sponsored and was able to get the medical care that she needed. She'd been really sick before and all of this. But then to see the Compassion International person who was kind of over the their church and their little area, that she got to come and tell them that they were able to enter the younger sister into the program. And so she came with her number to be able to take her picture and all that. But like the excitement and understanding of like what that meant for them, what that meant for her to be able to also get that education and that medical care and get to go to that program with Compassion and be taught about Jesus and all this, like, was so cool to see. Because I think that we probably just think, oh, there's all these kids in this area, all of them get to be a part of it. No. But like, even within that same family, it wasn't until a certain amount was sponsored. So now, like, yes, we're getting all these kids sponsored, but there's probably other kids in that region who now they can extend the opportunity to be sponsored to, who they didn't have the opening before, but because other kids are sponsored, they can now open it up to others. And that's even cooler to think about and see, to know that there are probably kids who are now going to have that opportunity because others have been taken care of. And like, Doug sent me a video of the reaction of a family in Indonesia whose kid got sponsored. And like he said, most of them, when a family finds out that their child sponsored, he said many times, like, they're celebrating, they're dancing, they're, rejoicing. Many are moved to tears. I mean, because it is a game changer for them, like, to know and realize that my kid maybe will be less likely to be targeted, to be taken for, to become a child soldier, or to be trafficked, or to, my child can now get the medical care that they need. My child now can be, like, go to school and be able to be educated in a way that they don't have to remain in this life that I grew up in. Like, it was a big deal for us to be able to know that we could offer our kids a better life than what we had growing up here in America. And I just can't, like, imagine the kind of gratitude that others feel in those countries and those areas, to also be able to know my kid's going to be able to grow up and have a better life than what I had growing up, because of this organization, because of these people all the way on the other side of the world who have decided, I'm going to sacrifice a little bit that really doesn't cost us much. Like, we've been sponsoring our child for 2 years now, and we don't miss that money. Like, it comes out automatically. It's not like, it doesn't hurt us in any way. Yeah. And I started saying some of it in second service, but there's this thing that happens that, like, when we do take those steps to trust and say, we're going to give, we're going to cut back here, we're going to do this, we're going to give in this way, because I know that I'm feeling compelled by God to do this. And I know that he's going to give us what we need if we do this. Like, there's this thing that happens that it's almost like you begin to do that, and then you don't miss it. But then also, like, we made our commitment for the future. Mm-hmm. And in the moment of making that commitment, I mean, I wanted to do a lot more than what Anthony was, because Anthony was just looking at the current budget, like the current whatever. And I was like, no, but if we do this, and if we do that, and if we cut back here, and if we, we got to understand that, like, in a few months, we won't be having to pay for daycare for Anakin, and, because he'll be in school and all these things. I was like, you're looking at right now, but I'm looking at what we could do and what we could sacrifice or cut back on for the future. And we did that. And, like, we've been giving more, but we still have plenty. Yep. Like, it's the God math, like, where you do these things and you trust him. Yeah. And somehow you're still okay. Like, there were times where I didn't know how I was going to make rent. I didn't know where that money was going to come from when I waited tables and stuff like that. But I still always took my tithe and offering out first. I still gave. And I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not teaching prosperity here. Like, I'm just saying that somehow, some way, whenever I chose to put him first, he made a way for me. Yep. Like,
it's just what he does.
It's what he does. And it's cool to see and know that. And I've seen him do that, like, for us over the last, even 6 months with the For the Future campaign stuff and all of that. And, like, I look forward to hearing those stories from other people about what God's done for them as they've chosen to, like, maybe step up and sponsor a kid or do that kind of thing. I think it's cool for us to know and see the impact that we're making in others, but then to have an increased faith because of choosing to trust God in that. Yep. Like, we end up getting something in return always. Like, whether we don't do it for that, but God just works that way.
I like the blessings. Yeah. He's always been faithful to those who've been faithful to him. Yep. So. Yeah. All righty. Well, I enjoyed it. Little mystery meat action. I haven't done one of these in God knows how long.
Well, oh yeah, because that one you did, we had the storm and y'all ran out. Did you have a podcast after that? They know.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know if you listened to it or not, but there was one where they were like, well, no mystery meat today. We had tornadoes come through in West Virginia, of all places, but we had
two of them touched down.
Yeah. It was a wild day. So it came through right at the tail end of that podcast, and y'all had to run out. So
the only thing that would have made that video and it like better, in like those cheesy sitcoms in like the early 90s, like if something bad was happening, like an earthquake or something, if like the camera just started shooting.
No, I'm glad that didn't happen. But
alrighty. Yeah. What would be your ideal job if you could do anything and finances were not an issue? Preface to say this, that obviously we're doing our ideal job. And finances are not an issue.
Okay.
I mean, we can't say ministry, obviously. Okay. But doing ministry with like an unlimited budget would be pretty incredible. Yeah. Like, could you imagine like all the type of stuff that you can get done?
I know. Like, I feel like we get a whole lot done but like none of our mission stuff is written in our budget. Like, and we do so much missions and outreach.
Oh yeah.
But it's all based on the giving of our people. And that's where I'm like, man, it's so cool. I think that would be cool. I don't know. I'd probably do a whole lot more mission trips for sure.
It can't be mission. Can't be missions.
But that's
like an ideal job. Like if ministry was just out of the question.
Yeah.
Like what could you do?
What could I do?
What could you do? And you had unlimited money and resources to make it happen. And it can't be church related. Would you write a book? Would you be an author?
Yeah. I'd go back to school and I would write. That's probably
a good one,
what
right?
I would do. Yes. Thanks for helping me with my answer there.
I was reading your mind. I think that would be really cool, but like the type of stuff that I would write, people probably wouldn't want to read.
But if it doesn't matter, if finances are an issue, so what?
I do have
only two people read it. If only your family read it.
Erica has been prodding me to write a book.
Yeah.
And so I've been tossing ideas around. And so I've written a couple. I have some on my phone, some ideas.
Oh.
And
I thought you meant a couple books. I was like, dang, self-publish those things on Amazon.
Dude, I got to take the time to write it.
Yeah.
Like, I think I do a really good job of like flushing out like ideas. Mm-hmm. Because I can get into I can get into specifics. I can't just be like, oh, and Robert, he was running from the zombies. The end. Man. I could do like a really good job of like describing things. I try to be very descriptive with words because we're on a podcast. There's people that are going to be listening to this in a car. But if I could do something, it'd be one of two things. If money was no object, I would probably do music creation because I've always been fascinated with music, obviously. Or I would be like a video game streamer. I would take my kids' goals and desires of what they want in life, and I would do it.
Yeah. No, that'd be fun. I think I'd also maybe do a different random podcast just for fun too.
Or I would take like all the stuff that I like to do, and I'd like to get paid. Like I'd like to get paid to do it.
Yeah.
So like I like every once in a while I like to play video games. Every once in a while I like to pick up wood and cut it up and make something out of it. Like I think it'd be really cool. Like the things that like I want to do, like I just don't have the money to do it.
Yeah. Like, so maybe if I could write and just travel the world and write, that would be fun.
Oh, I know. That would
just
be
to
good.
Be able to go.
A travel blogger.
Well.
A travel documenter.
I probably wouldn't write about. I mean, I'd probably incorporate stories from my travels, but like, I don't want to just write about oh, this place that I visited and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be that.
It would be.
I don't want to be a quote unquote influencer. Yeah. That's a dumb thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's a dumb thing.
It would probably end up being like stories like with you and your tracker guy, like how you were able to do that and you didn't expect or plan to do something like that.
Yeah,
but like, you know, I think anywhere you travel, you end up having interactions or things that are cool like that, where you see God in the midst of it, but that you're not planning for. Like,
yeah,
I would want to travel and have those moments that I could then write about and share with people. Like, that could be fun.
Well, enjoyed it. It's a good conversation. I'm hungry. It's time for lunch. Y'all have a great day.
Time for lunch. Lunchtime. Time for
see,
lunch.
maybe you should do music.
Well, no, that's bubble guppies.
I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know anything about no bubble guts.
Bubble guppies.
All right, y'all have a good day, and we'll see you next time, next Friday for another episode.
Bubble guts. Dang it.
Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. You can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.